Hello again there, everybody. This is going to be Jungle League number 86, and the recent experiment was a combination of Bonecrusher Giant and Witherbloom Command. Unfortunately, I don't think Witherbloom Command is going to be anywhere near as good as it needs to be in order to be playable, at least in Modern. But Bonecrusher Giant, on the other hand, has actually been impressing me. We're 2 leagues deep with it. The first league it did medium, and the second league I think it actually did pretty well. So gonna keep on trying it with a more filled out regular Jund list and see if it pairs nicely with the other stuff that we typically have going. Bonecrusher is pretty nice because it does 2 jobs, neither extremely well. It interacts at 2 mana, and then at 3 mana is a pretty decent threat with upside. And the shock and stomp even actually has upside, and damage can be prevented. So while it does do 2 jobs, not super well, it does 2 jobs, which is nice. And then every once in a while, it's a two for one rolled up in itself, because you can always stomp and then cast Bonecrusher Giant. So that's pretty cool. So I mean, it's been doing pretty okay so far, and I'm just gonna keep on trying it to see if we can consistently like it. So prior to this list, the 75 was very similar to the list in the previous run, where we were playing to Witherbloom. But now that we're not playing to Witherbloom, I have simply added another Dark Confidant, because the games where we had our 1 copy, it looked really good. And then we have added our 4th copy of Lightning Bolt. I don't think the 1 mana discard is super excellent right now, because discard tends to be really good versus control and combo, while being significantly weaker versus aggro and mid-range. And there's definitely a lot of aggro and mid-range right now. So I think a little weaker than they have tended to be in the past. But versus aggro and mid-range, the removal tends to be fine. So I'm up on the 1 mana removal and down on the 1 mana discard. But if it does become obvious that it's in a good spot in a particular matchup, we've got brutalities that we can bring in to kind of supplement it. And then along those lines, if we play against a super low to the ground deck, we've also got another copy of Fatal Push to hopefully make it so opponents can't get under us. The rest of the threat package after the Bonecrushers comprises of 3 Bloodbraid Elf, 4 Tarmogoyf, and like I mentioned, 2 Dark Confidant. We've also got 2 Kroxa to round it out. Usually I like playing the full set of Bloodbraid Elf, but with the addition of Bonecrusher, my curve is higher than normal, so I shaved on a Bloodbraid just to make sure we don't have too many clunky draws. So just as a way to smooth out the curve, I've cut one of those. It is going to be one of our best cards in a lot of matchups, but I mean, Bonecrusher tends to be good in the same matchups that Bloodbraid's good in, so hopefully we're not forfeiting too much there. And then for the rest of the sideboard that I haven't talked on yet, for Grave Hate, we've got 2 copies of Ashiok, 3 copies of Spellbomb, and Kalidas, Trader of Get. This is the 3rd time it's been in my sideboard recently, and I have yet to see it, so hopefully we get to see it at some point so we can kind of get an idea for its power level. I have yet to see the Ghost Quarter. It's a cool combo with our copies of Renin 6. I have yet to get that going too, but I have brought it in a few times. The Plague Engineers have been good. The Pillage and Cleansing Wildfires have been good. And the push has been obviously fine if we need to lower the curve a little bit. Maybe the push isn't as much a requirement when we're also playing things like Bonecrusher Giant, but for now this is what we're rocking. And I know someone's gonna ask me about why I'm playing Pillage instead of Cleansing Wildfire. I'm playing Pillage right now because Eldrazi is very popular, and killing an artifact seems like it could be pretty relevant. So while it does cost a mana more, hitting an artifact is a nice little upside. So let's take a look at the current Modern metagame. It's the same as 2 hours ago, but for those who haven't seen that video super recently, here's what we're probably looking at. Heliod, Jund Shadow, Blitz, a pretty solid top 3. I mentioned Eldrazi also very popular right now. Esper Control, also pretty popular, which is a cool one. Just pretty much blue-white control, splashing Fatal Push, and Kaya's Guile. And then we would like to avoid seeing this 5-color Yorion pile. We would like to avoid seeing Traditional Tron. We would like to avoid seeing Dredge, and then obviously Eldrazi. So of this top 15, there are 4 that I would like to avoid, but just about everywhere else I expect to have a pretty good fight against. So that's how we're looking versus at least the top 15, and let's get into the action. I should task manager out Streamlabs too? No, that's okay. You gotta show me a video. All right, send me the link. I'll take a peek. You can whisper it to me on Twitch if you want. I'm doing all right. Doing all right. That sounds good. Let's keep. We can mire on 1 to hold up lightning bolt, and then we can shock in the overgrown tomb to get our Ren and 6 going. Sand's got a little bit of everything. I like it. Turn 1 Spire Bluff Canal. So that could mean a number of things. Less likely it's a control deck, but it could pretty easily be Storm. Another N and 6 is nice in case they've got like a snare or something. Spire Bluff Canal could pretty easily indicate a Blood Moon is in the future, so I'll probably prioritize fetching basic Swamp. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to get our Forest yet if a Blood Moon is a concern. Sprite Dragon. Okay, so it's Blue-Red Prowess. Interesting. We do have a Ren and 6 in play, so they may be trying to have us bluff. They may be trying to bluff a 0-mana spell. And I think I actually am gonna take the bait, assuming they don't just cast the spell now. Because if I can force out the spell from their hand, then I can just have the kill spell anyway. That seems really good for me. So I'll probably just go for the minus, and I'll play the Swamp now, I think. Actually, no, that doesn't seem correct. I'm gonna want to have multiple reds, that way I can both Terminate and Lightning Bolt, right? So I'm probably gonna want to play the Mire such that I can hold up Terminate. And I'm gonna use the Bolt here because Terminate's more reliably gonna kill something like Stormwing Entity. So I'm aware they're able to save this, but I want to bait it out so I don't have to worry about it later. And they just let it happen. Deal. I'm pretty scared of the card Storming Entity still. I have a few ways to kill it, so maybe I don't actually have to be super concerned. I think I want to get this Kroxa going, but getting Liliana down now also seems good. I'm just worried that it's going to get attacked with haste, and while I'm not short on answers, I think the way I lose this game is I just have too many threats for me to deal with. So I think I should probably just play the Liliana when the opponent already has 1 creature in play, and just use it as an actual removal spell instead of something that can get attacked with haste or burned down. All of that considered, I'm going for the Kroxa here. I'll just hold up the Bolt. You whispered it? Alright, I'll take a peek afterwards. So I made you do a spit take. Another Sprite, sure. Well, they let the first one die. They're going at me again. The Bolt target my Ren and 6. So if I go for the Bolt on this, I could pretty easily just get blown out by a Mutagenic Growth, but it's only Mutagenic Growth that would bite me here. So I think I'm just gonna take it and then go for the Bolt on the end step. Mutagenic Growth is gonna get to save the Sprite Dragon. So the only difference that would happen is I would take an additional 3. So I think now I'll get the Mountain and use the Bolt. If they want to Mutagenic Growth now, after damage has already been dealt, that seems fine with me. I can just untap and Liliana Edict it and then still have Terminate for a Stormwing. So far so good. Everything according to plan. So I've effectively saved 3 life by not preemptively going for this. Ooh, and Goyf is really, really good here. That almost makes me want to just play the Goyf and then play the Terminate instead. Just because we will be able to get a source of pressure down. At this point, I'm not super concerned about the opponent going threat and threat on the same turn. So I'm more like just going Goyf, hold up, Terminate. I doubt the opponent is playing something like Spell Pierce here, but they could be playing Vapor Snag, and I don't want their thing getting saved. So let's just go ahead and do this now. And then deploy our Tarmogoyf. Had we not found 2-mana threat, I think I would still be using Liliana. But 2-mana threat is kind of perfect here. Blue Red Prowess does not play Force of Negation in the main deck. They don't have enough blue cards. It's pretty much only Sprite Dragon and Opt if they're playing Opt. Every once in a while there's a Vapor Snag. They just don't have enough blue to reliably play Force. So here I get to both play Renin 6 and Liliana if I want. Pretty sure I am interested in that. I guess let's go for an attack first. So this game is looking up. And I'm still even not super excited. Oh, they do have the Vapor Stack. I'm still not even super excited about playing this Liliana when we're not for sure that it can kill something. So I think I might, now that the opponent has Vapor Snag, just play Renin 6 and the Tarmogoyf again. And I'll probably just conserve the life and get this untapped. I can discard this to the Liliana at some point if it comes up. So they've got one card remaining. We're at an effective 7 due to the Lava Dart that we already know about in the yard. Ooh, that one's a good one. I mean, it's just going to be something that we can apply additional pressure with. Don't think I'm going to use the land because, again, being at an effective 7 and going down to 6 means that we die to 2 bolt effects. I don't think I want to let that happen. So let's just stomp and play the Bonecrusher. So does it change our math at all to ping with the Renin 6? We're attacking for 4 now, putting the opponent to 8, and they're still just dead to this. So probably pretty free to just continue plussing, considering they're dead next turn anyway. Interesting that the opponent is playing Serum Visions as opposed to Opt. I'm pretty sure Opt is the better deck out of Prowess, just because like if you want to combo really big turns with lots and lots of Prowess triggers, getting to pick the card immediately and drawing the card you picked immediately is pretty big game, so you can snowball. You love Semen Visions? Yeah. Me too, once upon a time. I liked it so much I named myself after it. So they split the difference top bottom. Sure. If they attack, I'll block. Not that we needed it, but we do get to take a peek. Yeah, pretty much every card art ever made is on Magic Online. There are even some cards on there are even some arts on Magic Online that aren't in paper. Didn't I know that Scrying 2 is strictly better than Scrying 1? Also, didn't you know that Instant is strictly better than Sorcery? Alright, so the opponent is Dobbs. Dead on board. Blue-red Prowess. So we are going to be a little concerned about Blood Moon. Wildfire is a cute way to maybe get out from under a Blood Moon. So let's maybe consider those. I think I like the spell bombs for sure. If we can make them use lava darts awkwardly, we can make the 1 mana sorcery 2 damage that flashes back for 5. We can make that awkward. We can also choke a Bedlam Reveler, which we're worried about. Let's definitely bring in the Fatal Push. Brutalities are looking good as well. Plague Engineer is always interesting. It's pretty fragile to all of their removal spells. It's a nice preemptive answer to Stormwing Sprite, or sorry, Sprite Dragon. Kalidas is interesting too. This is like one of those cards where if we're pretty low but we get an attack in, this could be what flips a game on its head. So we'll consider it. We're going to definitely cut the Bobs. I also like cutting the Thoughtseizes. Thoughtseizes take things like Bedlam Reveler and Stormwing Entity, but I think on average the 2 life is going to matter more than maybe taking one of the things that we don't have a super hard time killing anyway. I think I'm going to cut some number of the expensive 2 damage spells because any prowess trigger grows their stuff out of range. So if it's between Kolaghan's Command and Bonecrusher, I think I'm going to cut the Kolaghan's Command because Bonecrusher can also just be a body. Renin 6 also doesn't do a whole lot in this matchup. It kills sprites if they haven't grown yet, but that's not super great. Maybe we just cut all of them and then we can cut one off of the top, just so again we don't have too clunky of a curve. This looks fine to me. Oh, here's another Thoughtseize. Did I take out an Inquisition by accident? Oh no, I'm playing 2. Right. Do I bring this back in? Yeah, push is very good in this matchup. We have 8 ways to kill something on 1 plus 2 Inquisitions. Yeah, this is I think a pretty favorable matchup from the Jund side as long as you don't get got by a Blood Moon. I think the Inquisitions are fine. It can help stop some of the nuttier draws or maybe clear the way so something doesn't get burned out. It's not great, but I think it's better than the other sideboard options. Insert This Isn't Hearthstone joke here. Mulligan. This is not great. The opponent has gone to 5 though. I think I'm going to keep. It's not great. I'll keep the Forest because I am to some extent afraid of a Blood Moon. I don't need 3 fetches, so let's at least bottom 1. I've got the Forest already, so Verdant pretty bad. And then this is going to be Overgrown Tomb, Forest, and then I guess I'm going to need a Blood Crypt. A black or a red source can be fetched by Mire, so let's keep the Mire. Oh, this is Mulligan to 6. I get to keep all of it. Never mind. Haha. I said Mulligan to 5, and like in my head it was me mulliganing to 5. They mulligan to 4. Wow. That's aggressive. Hey, that's a good one. I guess I'm just going to get basic Swamp now. I can Forest next turn, and then I can Overgrown Tomb after that if I really want to. We're going to Inquisition the opponent, whose deck is a Critical Mass deck, and then Inquisition them when they're already on a 4-card hand. Bolt doesn't do a whole lot. To note, Goyf is less good in the face of Soulscar, so I might just wait until I can Liliana it. Another Peatland. I think I'm just going to get Blood Crypt tapped at the end of the opponent's turn. And then if they haven't added a creature to the board, we can Liliana Edict. Again, I could play the Goyf. There's instant sorcery land. Sorry, land sorcery creature. If they add instant, Goyf will be 4/5, but it'll put 3 minus counters on it due to Soulscar. I think I'd rather the Goyf be big, and I'll take another hit for 1. And if they want to bolt the Liliana, that seems fine. What we don't want to see is something like Glide Up the Stage. Any way for the opponent to climb back into this. Because, like, the way they're losing right now is for sure resources. So, and any card that leads to multiple resources is something potentially problematic. Well, we don't need any more basics. Let's Liliana. Spell Pierce, okay. That's interesting. And it's pretty good here. We're not out of the woods yet. The opponent is not even that far behind with how many lands we've drawn. But I mean, any Fatal Push or Bolt is going to feel excellent. Alright, well, they can't shrink 2 glyphs. Next turn, if I don't find action, I can cycle the Peatland. And I needed to play the Peatland and pay the life here, because otherwise I don't have 2 green. If I shock, I'm just net losing 1 more life than I would otherwise paying a simple 1. So we know about Bolt. Come on, deck. Jeez. Well, I mean, this is what the opponent needs to happen for them to have any realistic chance. If I attack both, they can double block and bolt. And then only my Gwaif dies. That doesn't seem good for me. Let's just go land pass. And this is pretty much what they need to happen. We're not out of it yet. Wow, triple Islet. Funny. That's a good one. So we expect the Swift Spear to die here if they don't have another Spell Pierce or something. That works too. Yeah. You're 5-0ing with Breach? Yeah, Breach is kind of cool. You can just get him with Blood Moon, right? Free wins are free wins. If you just have infinite counters into attack with Emrakul, right? Sounds good. This hand's got a lot of discard. We're going to need to find a threat. Plains and nothing. Ready for the Mana Tithe? Death and Taxes. Alright, so I got Skyclave, Leonin, Arbiter, Path. I think I'm taking Arbiter. Arbiter's going to make my lands really, really awkward. Also, if they have some kind of Ghost Quarter draw, I don't actually have a way to deal with the Arbiter, but Skyclave is in general really bad for me. Probably fine to just take the Arbiter, though. Maybe it's not even that much of a concern, and Skyclaves are just too good. I think I'm still leaning towards Arbiter, though. It's going to make it so the opponent ideally doesn't have anything to do on their next turn. Boo. Ooh, that's a good one. But they have double Skyclave here. So what I could do is I could just play Kroxa. Because, like, if I'm going to Thoughtseize, it's going to be to take a Skyclave, and they can't Skyclave on the turn coming up. So this seems as good a turn as any to just play the Kroxa. which I can do off of Swamp and maybe save some life. Yeah, Death and Taxes is on the popular side at the moment. And they discarded a Skyclave. That's good and scary. So we'll get to Thoughtseize here, and maybe the coast is clear for Confidant, or at least they'll have the path. I don't think they would play a naked Skyclave. Grizzly Bear isn't super effective. Although with me having actual nothing going, it's possible it is. Come on, deck. Need some help. So this prevents damage to only legendaries. That was a good draw. That's also something that gets Skyclave, so maybe I still just lead Thoughtseize. Liliana not going to get much better, though. So, like, if I Liliana Edict this, the opponent can go Skyclave Apparition, eat it. And then next turn, I can Thoughtseize taking the path and then stick the Bob versus a 2-2 Skyclave that if it dies gives me a 3-3. This all seems fine. So I guess just Shock Stomping around Liliana Edict. Sure. Liliana was a fine draw. Because, like, if I Thoughtseize Dark Confidant here, I can take the Skyclave, but they'll still just have the path for it, which has us still at parity. So at least this way, maybe next turn I get to stick something. Moorland's not great. So we got Path and an Unknown, which is also a land. I mean, we're at parity and we've got Bob in play. This is not the worst position to be in. If they attack, I don't think I'm blocking. It's a good sign. So they have 2 fresh ones. Arbiter. Alright, and they've got the Ghost Quarter. So they can just straight strip mine something. That one makes sense. You know, if I block this, I get a 3-3 and I'm 1 card off of just escaping Kroxa. I think I'm taking a hit here, though. I think just having a Bob in play is probably pretty valuable. We revealed Thoughtseize and hit another Liliana. Alright, well, Liliana's going to do the trick, I think. Don't think I'm casting this Thoughtseize, unfortunately. There goes the Arbiter, which means I can fetch safely. And then I think I will actually use the Dark Confidant to block the Skyclave here. Is there a world where I actually want to use this Thoughtseize just to make sure that the opponent's last card isn't good? It's very conceivable they have the spell here. Both cards they drew were fresh and they tapped out to do actual everything. So I mean, this one card could very easily be a spell. I'm going to want to use this Thoughtseize anyway, because in the event they don't attack, which they pretty much have to attack, but in the event that they don't, I won't have enough cards in my yard to escape the Kroxa. What happens if I do this and I brick? I would go down to 9 with a Bob in play. I mean, Kroxa's going to close shop pretty quick. Let's I think go for Thoughtseize. And if it's a spell, excellent, and if it's not, sucks. Alright, sucks. You think I'm so far ahead it really doesn't matter? Well, I mean, if they got something like a Path or another Skyclave, they could potentially deal with my Kroxa quickly. Again, and I will block if they afford me the option. They were going at me. I don't think it matters. Yeah, and they scoop. Double land, okay. Kind of a cakewalk so far. Let's bring in the Pillage for sure. It's gonna be good versus the Stoneforge package. I don't think we're Ghost Quartering. Ashiok is interesting for, again, the Stoneforge package, but that probably already seems good enough. Kalidas seems like it could be good. Plague Engineer also going to be good versus the various X ones, mainly Flicker Wisp. And then this is probably a matchup where I want other Fatal Push, but we're already so loaded on removal that maybe that isn't even the case. I don't think I'm bringing in Brutality. I'm probably bringing in the Push before I bring in Brutality. The only instance in Sorceries that's hit is like what? Path to Exile? That's it? Don't think I need the Spell Bombs for any reason. No Wildfires. So like this is a maybe. I think these four are probably pretty much definite. On the draw, I think I'm pretty okay shaving Liliana's. Bonecrusher seems like it's going to be great here. A threat that they have to deal with, and a shock which kills pretty much everything in their deck is nice. Do I want to maybe bring out either a Kroxa or a Goyf as a hedge versus Rest in Peace? I don't want too many of my threats getting hit by it. I think I'm going to take out a Kroxa. We need one more cut. Let's actually just see how many Thought Seizes we can take out. Discard is pretty bad in the games that go long, and these games are probably going long. So let's bring in the Push, maybe even the Brutalities at that rate. The discard's just probably so much worse, especially on the draw when we can't even take the Vial if they've got a Vial. So do I bring Kroxa back in? Maybe I just bring Liliana back in. It's kind of close. Yeah. I think that's one of the strengths of Brutality is that there are many modes that are often good, and sometimes multiple are good, and you can use multiple modes. And then it's just excellent. Let's try this. On the play, maybe I bring the Inquisitions back. We've got 3 of our basics versus the Path to Exile deck, but we've also got Push on 1 and Bonecrusher. Lots of basics is annoying. They mulliganed, that's a good sign. They had the Vial, boo. Another land, also boo. I'm going to want to fetch within my first 2 turns anyway, because of Leonin Arbiter, so let's just get the fetch in now. If I have to fetch Shock to Push, it'll be annoying, but not the end of the world. And we can't get Leonin Arbiter at instant speed yet, because Vial's only on 1. Alright, we've got only a single green. We don't really have a real reason to have lots and lots of green. We've got double black, double red. Probably just get Blood Crypt here, to be honest. Say no. Pillage. Pillage can hit the Vial, which is nice. Let's play a Black Leaf Cliffs and say go. So, I mean, the downside of playing around Leonin Arbiter the way that I have is that we don't necessarily have a way to enable Revolt right now. Really? Nothing? I think I will go for the Pillage on the Vial. The opponent is kind of behind on mana. So it's not the use that I had in mind, but probably fine. If they like Vial and Stoneforge, put a Batterskull into play, it'll be slightly unfortunate, but I can still deal with the Batterskull. They just didn't have anything, so they're going to use their entire turn having done nothing. That feels lucky. Flicker Wisp, sure, I can stomp that. So flickering this means that they could potentially have a Path to Exile coming in the queue. I could stomp it, or I could just Plague Engineer. I mean, this is the use for it anyway. It's either this or Humans to kill Thalia. I think I'm probably just going to Engineer here. It's going to get a Grizzly Bear into play. Flicker Wisp, more like Flicker Bitch, I suppose. So I guess the upside to casting Stomp here is that I would also get to cast Kroxa, Who knows? Maybe I have a better name later, and this is not going to get much better. I guess that's not true. Yeah, let's just engineer name Elemental, I think. You know what? No, this is why. Because then next turn I get to actually play the 4-3, right? And we don't actually have a significant clock yet, and Bonecrusher can be that clock. So I think I'm going to lean towards Stomping, so that way next turn I can actually play this as a creature to complete my 2-for-1. So let's Kroxa first, so the opponent doesn't have the information. Then we can just play Basic Mountain to stomp. Discarded a path. They could, I guess, have Restoration Angel. Let's just not have any funny business. Like, I'm assuming their hand is all 3s and 4s, because, like, they had a Vial on 2 and 2 lands and just, like, did an entire turn's worth of nothing. So it would make sense that their hand is clunky at the top end. Alright, and we could Plague Engineer that one, but I would like to get the Bonecrusher down. Ooh, or we could just Wrenn and 6 it and play the Bonecrusher. That seems excellent. Yep. We've had 2 good matchups so far. I've been pretty good at winning my medium to good matchups and losing my bad ones. So let's see if we can just find some more good ones, shall we? Inked Vienna, thank you for the follow. I appreciate the support. Yeah, Bonecrusher looked good there. It was a kill spell, and it provided a clock. We weren't really short on kill spells. But I mean, the goodness comes from the flexibility, right? Like sometimes we'll be short on kill spells, sometimes we'll be short on threats. And in either case, if one of those kill spells or threats is a Bonecrusher, then we've got a threat or a spell that we would not have otherwise had. So I mean, the versatility is definitely there. There was a multi-month span after playing Legacy TNT when I didn't know Flickerist doesn't have Flash, since I instant speed it the only time I ever put it into play. Yeah, I also thought that Flicker Wisp had Flash for a while too, but I didn't play enough Legacy to realize that it didn't. Imagine if Flicker Wisp had Flash. That would be nuts. So for those just getting here, we are 2-0. We beat Blue-Red Prowess, and we beat Death and Taxes, which I think are 2 pretty good matchups, which get better with Bonecrusher. There's also a lot of burn in this variation, isn't there? I'm playing 4 bolts, 3 Wrenn and 6s, a bunch of Bonecrushers. Oof. This hand is everything I love about Jund. The only thing that would have been better is if we were going first. This is when we see turn 1 Tron land and we're sad. Hey, they're not playing a Tron land. Sick. Alright, well we've got double discard, so that much is nice. If I move the Bob around fast enough, maybe they won't take it. Damn it, didn't work. Ooh, that's a good one. What you got? Ooh, it looks like Mardu's Stoneblade. And next turn they're going to get to use the Stoneforge Mystic. So they know that my hand is 4 things that don't line up super well versus theirs. So they might just not Thoughtseize and save it for later. I mean, I would love for this Wrenn and 6 to actually stick, though, which means that I could just take the Thoughtseize in order to defend it. I mean, I do have the bolts for the Stoneforge Mystic, but if I'm using my turn to get the Renin 6 into play, that means I'm not bolting the Stoneforge. I should probably just take the Stoneforge and then concede the fact that Renin 6 is probably leaving. You like this version to Fizman? Glad you do. Yeah, like the aggro matchups are, I think, typically pretty good. Some of them are pretty close to like regular burn can still be iffy because they could obviously just draw all the stuff that goes face, and that's most of the deck. So I still think sideboard tools for aggro decks are more than fine. Obviously, just saying one example, but there are others. Alright, so I would expect my Renin 6 to bite the dust here. Unless they, for some reason, have a reason to defend something from my own Thoughtseize. Yeah. Their hand's quite good. Push, not super exciting. I mean, at a minimum, we can take a Seasoned Pyromancer. I think Pyromancer is probably more important than the Kaya's Guile, even though the Pyromancer's got graveyard value. This drawing multiple cards is going to be a headache, so let's just make sure it's not a headache, right? Get your stomping ground. Oh, I guess you're, yeah, you get to try them. How is it? What's it like? What'd you find? Another Stoneforge. Okay. I think I'm actually just gonna untap without killing it, because if I find a Liliana, it's gonna be so much better having kept everything in my hand. And if I draw a 2-mana play, I can still do that 2-mana play and kill the Stoneforge. I'm going to get the Stomping Ground here because I'm most likely to want to fetch basic Swamp if I'm fetching a basic. Alright, and there's that 2-mana play that we were talking about. So now the question becomes, do I want to use the Lightning Bolt or do I want to use the Fatal Push? I think Bolt is going to kill just about everything in their deck with the exception of Germ. We do need Revolt to kill most, well, all threes. I guess we can maybe make the decision based off of what the opponent discards off of the Croxa. What's up, Jay Hens? Glad you can catch one. Welcome. They discarded Batterskull. Wow. Alright, so they're really identifying that they're going to need the Guile to deal with the Croxa, which makes sense. So this Stoneforge actually kind of a non-threat now that it's just a 1/2. So I suppose I can actually wait on deciding which one I want to use. The opponent kind of priced into using Guile now. I guess that's not even true, because like if I find an untapped land that doesn't put an ability on the stack, like a fetch, they can always just Edict the Croxa, but then I'm gonna get a trigger from it entering. Kaya's Guile, make a 1/1, exile a yard. Yep. Alright, so we do not know what is happening over there. And I think I am going to kill this. Let's use the push. Maybe the burn spell goes face, who knows. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I draw Liliana, I can Edict onto an empty board, which seems nice. Renin 6 is fine as well. Green, red. Kill that. Go. Bonecrusher would be fine just as a 4/3 here. When the opponent finds 2 more lands, they will have Pyromancer in the queue. Ooh, what's this? Pyromancer. Yikes. Well, I mean, we've got the Bolt. Yeah, I did kind of tap wrong with drawing exactly Renin 6, right? Oof. That was good. Alright, so now we can play the Tarmogoyf, which is pretty big at a 5/6. We can plus targeting nothing, and then we can continue holding the bolt. And the opponent knows about the bolt from way back when. Alright, so this means that they can activate Pyromancer. They do have double red. They drew a bolt. Brutal. And a Lingering Souls. Yikes. Oof. That's bad. I won't lie. Hey, there's the Bonecrusher. So I guess I am going to do some mix of Stomp and Bolt here. J Hens 4th, thank you for the sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Yeah, good cards are good, right? All right, so I think I'm attacking here, to be honest. I'm not gonna win a game by sitting back, trying to fight a Lingering Souls and a bunch of token generators. I could just actually play the 4/3, and I think that's what I want to do actually. Because like I think the way that I'm winning this game is I just basically my attacks are used as removal spells. Because I mean they do have to block for quite a while, right? Whoa! Thanks for the gifted tier 1 sub, Defisman. I really appreciate it. And congrats, I am Toaster. They didn't do anything. Alright, so this probably means they're just activating a Pyromancer. Oof. That was good. That was really good. Alright, and I'm going to use my attacks as removal spells. This might be like a triple block. They should probably quad block, just so a single removal spell doesn't blow them out. I mean, if they only triple, I'm definitely going to save the Bonecrusher. Yeah, I mean, we get to kill all of it, which is also just good. Take a chunk. Play a Goyf. Please, no, rest in peace. I guess rest in peace, not really a concern in the Lingering Souls Seasoned Pyromancer pile, right? Alright, so it's looking like they're just going to do the Pyromancer play again. I could bolt one of the tokens to be able to connect and put the opponent to 1, which means any other burn spell in the deck is lethal. And there's a lot of burn, right? There's 3 more bolts, 2 more Renin 6s, 2 more Bonecrushers, 2 Kolaghan's commands. That makes 10 draws that just kill the opponent on the spot. It's probably worth putting the opponent to 1. They could maybe Kaya's Guile to get out from under it. But it feels, I think, good to do this. Unfortunately, we can't add another type at instant speed. Only hitting for 6. How bad. Alright, put you to 1. And then I see no reason to hold this. Let's just play it. So I think worst case scenario now would be Kaya's Guile, because at this point they can fully escalate it, buy themselves a lot of time. I mean, this is a good draw for them. They can also bring back a Lingering Souls to create 2 more blockers. So we still want to avoid a removal spell or just draw a burn spell of our own. That's good. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't change much in way of attacking, so let's just lead on attack. Then we can Edict onto an empty board to make their sword a lot worse. Still seems fine. I could plus as well. That's something I could do. But I think Edicting is still probably correct. Just keep the board nice and empty so their sword isn't good. Because if I plus... well, I guess Liliana still doesn't die, but just not yet letting them have something to carry a sword also seems good. Cool. Cool. We're 5-0 so far in games. Alright, so let's bring in Pillage for the Stoneforge package. They're doing a lot of fetching. They also have lots of graveyard value, so I think Ashiok could actually be good. Spellbomb also going to be good to stop all the incidental graveyard value. Kalidas seems like it could be a house. I like Engineer for the various tokens. I think I'm going to shave on 1-for-1s because they're typically not going to be what pull us ahead. And I think Bolt's probably better than Push. So I think let's trim Push. Liliana does not look very good versus all of those tokens, especially on the draw. Terminate as a 1-for-1 is not really where I want to be, I think. They play a lot of removal, making Dark Confidant pretty fragile, but it's still probably going to be one of the better cards in the matchup, assuming I can get it going. Oh yeah, that's true. I probably want to just straight dump the discard. That's a fairly solid point. Definitely, for sure, Thoughtseizes. Yeah, let's just cut it all. Quite a good point. Alright, so I think probably what we want to bring in here is Brutality. Killing a creature could definitely come up. And they play lots of high-impact spells that we definitely care about. Kaya's Guile immediately comes to mind. How's this looking to everybody? This looks good to me. Yeah, Bob is gonna have a hard time attacking through tokens, but that's not really what it's there for, right? It's a card advantage engine first and the clock second. Let's do this. Let it rock. We got a lot of Jund cards. Jundad's red. Okay, this is an interesting one. Mulliganing feels really, really poor in a card advantage oriented matchup. I think I'm inclined to keep, but it's not super exciting. I don't think Blood Moon is something I'm super interested in playing around. That said, we do actually have the 2 basics already. So what I'm probably going to do here is get a Blood Crypt, and then on turn 2 might just cast Wrenn and 6 because it's less fragile versus the red deck. So I think I'm going to do that off of the Verdant, because since I have the Forest in play already, it only gets basic Swamp, whereas this gets Mountain. So I think Verdant is technically the worst fetch, and therefore I should use it first. They don't have anything. Wow. Alright, so let's get Blood Crypt. I could just Brutality now, but I think getting a Planeswalker going is probably going to be pretty good. I could also just play the Bob, which is probably the higher upside play, but it's susceptible to Bolt and also Kaya's Guile, whereas this is going to be harder to kill. Wrenn and 6 has looked pretty good in this league so far. We even got the Peatland to eventually start comboing it with. Boo. I mean, this is going to be a 3-for-1, right? Like, they've used 2 bolts and we've replaced it with a land already. Albeit, a land is not a real good draw by any stretch. But now we get to stick the Ashiok, and we've got a backup Ashiok. And I'll target the opponent immediately. I guess I could probably target myself. In fact, I probably should, because we could find Croxas, right? We milled 3 lands, though. That's good. They want to Triome and pass. Alright, despite the fact that they've used 2 bolts, it's probably pretty safe to just not make this susceptible to another one. Because they could also be playing things like Helix, right? So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lead on Collective Brutality, see if the coast is clear for a Dark Confidant. And now it is. Their hand is doo-doo. That's a good one. I mean, our Croxa is going to get to deal with it pretty handily. It's probably safe to just lose the 3 life here. And again, Verdant is worse because Forest is in play. I'll go to 15. We revealed Bloodbraid. Alright, I think I'm just going to go to 10, play the Bloodbraid. Really, really increase the clock. I guess I could play the Croxa. Because we're going to be able to escape the Croxa pretty quickly. Here, let's open up what they know about. I think I still probably like going for the Bloodbraid here. It's going to be the play that's the least susceptible to the opponent just like drawing a Spell Bomb. So let's get basic Mountain. Cast a Bloodbraid. And then I'll wait to minus. Because, what if we hit another Croxa and the opponent gets to exile a land, too? We milled their Batter Skull. That's pretty good. They would have been able to just cast that next turn. Feeling good. That was real good draw. They get to ditch 2 probably useless lands, a Mire and a Flats. So they still have an Arid Mesa. We revealed a Wrenn and 6, okay. So I can sacrifice the Peatland here as a way to enable Revolt, and then we can just sweep it away with the Ashiok. That seems good. Another Bob. Don't think I'm casting that. Let's just get this out of the way. Sweep it away. Hitting Stoneforge and some more lands. And then I guess we should just probably buy back a Peatland. And I could cast Croxa here now too. But it's not really going to shorten the clock by a significant margin. Let's just attack for 5. And then say go. We're pretty decently ahead. There's no reason to risk us dying to some burn spells and some unlucky Bob flips. I think probably one of the ways I could definitely see us losing this game is to running Lingering Souls. We're kind of soft to it right now. There's one of them. They didn't play Arid Mesa? Oh, I guess they can't fetch anyway because we've got Ashiok. Well, that's going to make it a lot easier. I can Wrenn and 6 ping. And then I guess if they have Path or Bolt, that could potentially mess this up. I have to fetch Shock in order to Bolt again. Actually, I don't have a fetchable red source right now. No, I lied. There's Stomping Ground. Did I mill it? I did. So there's actually not fetchable red. So I guess let's just attack. And then if they don't block, they'll die. And I think that they think their out is probably they attack me, draw a burn spell. And then Bob is mean to me. But we know that's not happening. I guess we get to play this land. Again, there's no fetchable red, so I can always just ping them next turn. So now we get to Croxa here. Red, black. Should have done this first so I could exile that too. Like, what if they discarded another Lingering Souls? So potentially a misstep, but we're coming out okay. This Ashiok has been messing them up. 3060. We're already in range of our Jund trophy. Even if we never drew a single card again, we've already got our Jund trophy. Good old 3-2. Dream confirmed, yeah. I'd like to thank everyone who supported me. Want to thank DeFizman for the gifted sub. Want to thank Jay Henceforth for their sub. Yeah, you got access to that 3-2 trophy emote. Hell yeah. We get to go first too. Oof. We rolled a 5 and the opponent expertly also rolled a 5. They revealed Luris. Alright, well I don't think we can keep one land with it being a Forgotten Cave. Okay. Versus Luris, I think Goyf is probably going to be one of my best cards. I have to keep my 2 lands. I think I'm just bottoming Kolagon's Command. Is it second Goyf? Renin 6 is going to be too good if we have any land on top. Any green land, specifically. Yeah? Drop the league to show Magic Online who's boss. Ooh, Flooded Strand? Maybe it's an aspiring spike-themed control list. Alright, well, we did hit the land. It's not a fetch to combo with this, but at least we get to get this ticking up. They got basic, island, and untapped. That's weird. Mutavault? Is it like Merfolk or Spirits or something? With Luris as a companion? Wow, it's Merfolk. Wow, okay. Well, we've got the Renin 6 to kill that. They revealed Lord of Atlantis. Thoughtseize is nice. So now we can Thoughtseize, use Renin 6 to ping, and play Tarmogoyf. This was a good turn. And we don't have to worry about a master of any kind. Because they can't play it with the Luris companion. Interesting. So they're playing blue-black Merfolk with Dismember and Repeal. I think I'm probably just taking Dismember. We get to Stonewall the Mutavault to keep the Renin 6 alive. Their hand is pretty land heavy. We mulligan to 5, but we're doing alright. They're definitely playing black because of the tar pit here. Spreading Seas as the draw. Okay. That is definitely annoying. There's the tar pit. There's the Overgrown Tomb. I mean, I guess I'm just going to play the Tomb tapped. I think I'm going to want the Bonecrusher as a stomp. Let's get in. This is going okay. I could definitely see an argument for just playing the 4-3 here. There's a Lord, yep. So I'm hoping they just activate Mutavault here. Okay. And then I get to stomp the Lord of Atlantis. Remember, all of their things are going to have Island Walk, at least until their Lords are gone. Yeah, Bonecrusher here on our mulligan. It's a removal spell and a threat. Pretty nice. It's looking like our Renin 6 is doomed for the graveyard anyway, so I think I'm just going to get a ping in there while I still can. And they played this Lord, right? Opponent's game plan seems fishy. Yeah, I mean this is the 3-0 bracket. We've done pretty well for ourselves. They found a dismember. Alright, there's already an instant in the yard because we took a dismember way back when. Sunken Hollow, yep. Lord, alright. So that means they can activate Mutavault to Island Walk through to our Ren and 6, which is unfortunate. Alright, big draw step. Can we hit a Bloodbraid? Bang. Alright, well, let's attack. If they don't block, they just die. Boo. You want to repeal my Bonecrusher? Take 2? I'll stomp you again. Alright, they played Islands. So their hand is Flooded Strand, Repeal, and another. And for whatever reason, they are not deciding to put Luris into their hand. They can activate Tar Pit and attempt to block. But I think in response to that, I will probably go for the Lightning Bolt. So that way they're forced to repeal. Yeah, Bonecrusher is kind of repeal safe. I don't want to trade with this Tar Pit, so I will bolt it out of the way before it blocks. Assuming that's what's happening. Uh-huh. Bolt? Question mark? Sure, I mean, this looks like they're just trading the Mutavault, which is also fine. And by trading, I mean theirs is dying, ours isn't. Unfortunately, we don't have double black for Liliana here. Bonecrusher's looking good. I mean, we're still not necessarily super far ahead, and the opponent's still got a lot going for him. Another Tar Pit. They're still not putting Luris to hand. Maybe they're planning on repealing now. And Black Source means we're activating, we're playing Liliana here, which is nice. If this Bonecrusher connects, they can't even target it anymore. Alright. Black. Black. Get it out of Creeping Tar Pit range. Not that it was super relevant anyway. They could repeal the Liliana, which would have me discarding it. But there's not going to be a real better use for this anyway, right? They didn't do it? Deal. I mean, what are you waiting for then? Yeah, you probably should have responded. I would have discarded the Liliana. UQCM, thank you for the follow. I appreciate your support. Really do. Lord, yeah. You still have Luris over here. Just so you're aware. Alright, so now how do I want to do this? I guess I'm just going to lead on Liliana Edict. I don't have a much better plan. And in the event of another repeal, I'm going to hold the land in hand until after the plus has resolved. Okay, I mean... I don't even think I attack with the Bonecrusher, to be honest. They're just going to block with the Tar Pit. I mean, they already can't target this as is. Let's just pass. I wonder what their last card in hand is. Is it something with flash?
I have a question.
Huh.
I use my PlayStation headset because the splitter's plugged into it, and I unplugged the splitter and it turned on.
What's the other thing plugged into?
The power, the terabyte drive.
Oh. Yeah, I see how that could be an issue.
I know you're busy, but I was just wondering if you had any ideas off the top of your head.
You would have to just plug in the HDMI cord to the back without the splitter.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so we still have double black though, because we had black Blue Cliffs last turn. So, do we just win here? Oh, that makes it easy. I mean, if there's a chance for shenanigans, right? So, we can go for the Liliana kill, and then if they respond in any way, we then just bolt face. Yeah, this version of the deck has a crap ton of burn in it. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. So, mono blue merfolk with black lands for Tar Pit and Dismember? Seems kind of weird. Let's bring in Kalitas. Let's bring in Plague Engineer. Brutality can kill a merfolk as long as they don't have 2 lords in play. Let's definitely bring in Push. They're on the Luris plan, so that might be reason enough to play Spellbomb. Let's put it in the maybe pile with these Brutalities. They're playing lots of man lands, and they're conceivably playing Aether Vial, so let's put that in the maybe pile as well. Versus a probable Relic of Progenitus and lots of Spreading Seas, I think I'm cutting Kroxa. On the draw, Liliana looks a lot worse. I think I'm bringing in this Pillage. I think I'm bringing in at least a Brutality. So you kind of like Wildfire with the Mutavaults, Tar Pits, and with the Spreading Seas? Yeah. Dark Confidant is superb versus the Critical Mass creature decks that like aren't trying to be a ridiculous aggro deck where they throw all the burn spells at you. Do I like the discard? I think the discard is probably fine here. I think it's probably better than the Lilianas. The Thoughtseizes are definitely weaker than the Inquisitions, especially because the opponent's on a Luris plan, right? I think I like the Brutality more than Thoughtseizes. So, like, at a minimum, we can make that swap. I think I actually, as a hedge to the Luris plan, like the Spell Bombs. I think I'm for sure cutting Thoughtseizes. Again, we don't have to worry about the expensive stuff because they're playing Luris. This has us needing 1 cut. I think because they're not a dedicated graveyard deck, and it really is just Luris that we're concerned about from a graveyard perspective, I probably don't have to overload on Spell Bombs and can just play 2. This seems pretty solid to me. Let's give it a go. Yeah, if I'm on the play, I may bring Liliana back in. I think on the draw it's a little weak. Yeah, it's a keeper. We've got turn 1 Spellbomb, which isn't the ideal turn 1 play. We would love an Inquisition or just a way to kill a thing. But then we've also got Dark Confidant for turn 2, which is good. Oh, there it is. Right on cue. So they've got Spreading Seas, Dismember, Master, Merfolk, Trickster, Repeal. I think I'm just going to take Spreading Seas, to be honest. They can Dismember my first Bob. I've got a backup. Also, I've only got 1 black source, so them Spreading Seasing it seems like it's bad for me. I was actually going to talk about that if I didn't draw Inquisition. Maybe I don't even play the Spellbomb, the Blackleaf Cliffs first, because then I'm soft to a Spreading Seas, but now that we know that we're not getting seized, unless they've drawn 1. This could easily just be a Master, and it is. Okay. Oof. That was the nut. Alright, so now we get to Brutality, we get to kill this, and we get to take the Dismember. 2 modes. So -2 until end of turn. Reveal your hand. Cast. So you, black, anything. So Luris, the Luris clan we are scared of, and Spellbomb could be our best route to disrupting that. So maybe I just discard Spellbomb. I don't think I can discard Kolagon's command, and Bobs are just going to be so good. Maybe it is just second Bob. They could repeal to set it back, but my other two cards seem like they're going to be good, and I want my third land. It breaks my heart, but I think I'm going to pitch Bob number 2. They've got Trickster, Repeal, Dismember. Alright, definitely taking Dismember now that I only have one Bob. Interested to hear what you guys would have discarded there. That is a good point, Toaster. Dark Confidant is rebuyable with Kolagon's command. They played Mutavault. Okay, that was a good draw from their side. So they've got Trickster, and Trickster, Repeal. So I think what the line that best plays around the hand that they've got is just playing Spellbomb and intending on sacking it. Playing Bob into Repeal isn't excellent. I could also hold up Kolagon's command, but that has me paying 2. Smirabito says Bob as well. Glad you agree. Bonecrusher would be great in this spot. Bonecrusher's been really like impressive. I think I'm going to Spellbomb here. I don't want to shock to hold up Kolagon's command. Although holding up Kolagon's command does have some merit, right? Because then we get to kill something. Have the opponent discard a card. I think I've convinced myself into just playing Kolagon's command. And I think I'm actually more incentivized to have the opponent discard a card before buying back Bob. I think it's going to be like shock something and you discard, because I'm shorter on removal spells now, and I may be able to just grind the opponent out the hard way. And if they activate Mutavault, I think I'm going to kill that. Choke them on mana. All attacks for the same. If they're attacking with just one thing, then I'll just Kolagon's command one thing. So you'll discard 2 to a target. Spreading Seas would be annoying here, but not the end of the world. They're playing the Luris plan. So we brought in 2 Spellbombs. This is a hedge towards that. Chalice on 1. Well, I guess I should have played my Spellbomb. There's the push, right on time. Alright, well, it's Bob time. I wonder, actually, we took the Croxas out, right? I was going to say I should probably just play the Spellbomb anyway to feed the Croxa, but we're only playing 2 and we took them out. So in the event that the Chalice eventually leaves play, I should probably just hold the Spellbomb. They're letting it trigger instead of repealing it. That seems good for me. Unless we draw 1-drops. Untapped land means Bloodbraid. Ooh, that hits the Chalice, which turns our 1s back on. Not going to attack into a Trickster that we know about. We know their hand is Trickster Repeal. Or they discarded Repeal. Does anyone know if this is the Repeal in the yard? I don't remember. I know I had them discard a card with Kolagon's command, and I didn't really pay attention to what they discarded. I guess it had to have been Repeal, right? Hey, that pillage looked good. Glad I brought it in. Didn't think I was going to blow up a Chalice with it. But, sure. Hey, we're 4080. I feel a tweet forming. Otherwise, they would have repealed Chalice. Yeah. This is a good record. I don't know about y'all, but to be fair, we have gotten 4, I think, good matchups. I think the worst matchup we've gotten so far was the Mardu the Mardu Stoneblade list, which I think might actually be slightly disfavorable. But we had a good draw against it twice in a row. Show Moto whose boss just dropped. Alright, where's the drop button? Yeah. Jun's been looking pretty good. Gideon Ravensword. They're the one who's gonna deny us the trophy. Luris again. This hand looks good versus Luris. We can overgrown tomb into mountain to get the Ren and 6 going. The cost of playing Ren and 6. The Bonecrushers have looked very good, which is pretty surprising to me. All right, well we can push that. Typically, decks that go Birds of Paradise and can't play Heliod because they're companioning Luris feel like they're going to be good for me. Goyf is good. All right, let's overgrown team into push. Say yes. I don't know how you can push a bird, but I'm not going to complain. They didn't have another land? That's got to be good for me. So question now is, am I playing the Tarmogoyf or the Renin 6? Probably a good idea to just get the Renin 6 going, especially because they're going to have lots of X1s in their deck. So having an X1 killer just in play seems like it's going to be on the powerful side. Still no land? Alright, well this is looking like a Tarmogoyf turn. I'll just have this come into play tapped. So Blood Crypt. No. Just continue buying it back. Alright, so far so good. Alright, we're playing against Luris, Temple Guard, and Birds of Paradise. Don't know how good Plague Engineer is going to be, but who knows. Again, we're playing against Luris, so maybe Spell Bomb is good. We're playing against Luris, so I gotta imagine Fatal Push is good. On the draw, Brutality is weaker. Maybe they're playing Utopia Sprawl, in which case Wildfire could be good. We really didn't get a lot of information to work with. I think against Luris, in general, I'm probably okay cutting Thoughtseizes. They could, in theory, be playing Collected Company, but Collected Company without 3-mana creatures doesn't seem very enticing. You think some Liliana's out on the draw? I can definitely see that, especially when they have things like birds that don't matter a whole lot going into the late game. And they could just very easily sacrifice a bird to Liliana to keep their good stuff alive. What are we bringing in over the Lilianas? I think keeping 2 is probably fine. Maybe it's just Brutality. I mean, they are a Luris deck. It could also very easily be Spellbomb, though, because, again, they're playing Luris. Again, we just really didn't get a lot of info. I think with the information we were presented, this seems fine. I could see an argument for Kalidas. I mean, we're playing against Temple Garden. I don't know what's up. I think we're doing this. Can we get the perfect 10-0? That would be insane. We've got a keeper. 2 basics is kind of awkward, but I mean, push into Ren and 6 into Liliana versus what is apparently a creature deck feels like it's got to be pretty good. They've even mulliganed. Okay. I like where this is headed. Wow, this league's only been going for an hour and 24 minutes. I guess that's what happens when every match goes to two games. Bubble me. Alright, so they know about Bloodbraid. Alright, let's lead Verdant. And then if they play something that's pushable, I'll get an Overgrown Tomb, so that way I can play Mountain to Renin 6. I can't say I know what the opponent is doing. Also, something to note, at least, is the opponent is still companioning Luris, so Leyline of Sanctity is not in the opponent's deck. Birds in a Luris deck seems weird. Like, what are you ramping into and everything costs 2 or less? That's a good point. Maybe they're just really trying to double spell, or they've got a mana sink like a Ballista or something. I really don't know. Engineer's good. I mean, I should probably just Liliana here, right? I can Liliana plus, just buy back the land that I discard. They know about Verdant, so I'll ditch that one. Vizier, okay. Oh, are we dead? We could just die. The opponent could post-mortem lunge and have the O2. I guess the O2 is the one that would need to have haste. I mean, Plague Engineer is going to make it really difficult. Right, they didn't even play a land. We could just Bloodbraid here, but I feel like it's probably safest to just play the Engineer and then hold up a removal spell, because it's going to be really hard to die. So I'll just, again, ditch the one that they know about. They discarded Veil of Summer. My sweet summer child. Get it? It's a pun. So if we name human here, it's going to be pretty hard for them to win. Oh, they're just Veil of Summer flooded? That's funny. Nice. All right, let's get the screenshot for the Twitter. All right, where's my snipping tool? Snip, snip. There's not a way to, like, move this, right? No. I'm not saying Bonecrusher is good, but Bonecrusher is good. Also, we had good matchups. So, I mean, a lot of things went right. But it feels good, you know? It soothes, it rejuvenates my Jund heart. To at least, like, someone actually asked earlier today, in the 85 leagues, now 86, how many times have I trophied? And I said just once. But, how about the 5-0-10-0? Can I just, like, do that? Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's a better snip. Because now you can see that every round was a 2-0. Alright, let me do a couple quick things, and then I'm going to get to our deck tech / round. This is going to be a quick video. We're an hour and 29 minutes into this recording. Alright, so let's do a quick deck tech for purposes of the recording. So, we had 5 very, very good matchups. And in all of those matchups, Bonecrusher was fine. I would venture to say more than fine. In a few spots, we both killed a creature and deployed a threat. While neither one of the halves of this card are particularly strong, you can do both halves, and they get the job done a good portion of the time. This card has impressed me. This is my third league with it, mainly because of viewer input, just suggesting spicy things to try to include. The first league I played with it, it was medium. It wasn't a standout. The second time I played with it, it was like, what, this could be something. And then the third time, we didn't drop a game. We had good matchups, but there might be something there. Who knows? There could be something there. I'm hopeful. I'm officially hopeful. Okay, so the rest of the deck, we're one discard spell fewer than I would usually play. But like I mentioned in previous deck techs and in this deck tech, the discard tends to be best versus control and combo decks, and weaker versus the aggro and mid-range decks. And we played a lot of mid-range decks and one combo deck. So the Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes did not look great. And it's good because we were playing fewer than them and they just came out no problem. We're playing lots of one-mana removal spells to kind of replace that we're one card fewer on the discard. So we still have 12 things to do on 1 mana pre-board. And it has looked good. I think the floor on the removal spells, especially Lightning Bolt, is much higher than for the discard. Because the Bolt can always go to face, right? But then when you don't need it to go to face, you can kill a creature. So push kills just about everything in the format, right? So I mean, the floor on these is much lower than the floor on the discard spells, because discard can sometimes be completely dead, but it's harder for the removal to be completely dead. So that's the reasoning for splitting it that way. The Crocuses have still been very good. The Ren and Sixes looked really impressive this league. Usually I'm not ridiculously high on this card when it's not killing a lot, but in this league, it killed a lot. When you're using this card for both of its modes consistently, I think it's excellent. And in this particular league, we used both modes a lot. The Dark Confidants also looked really good in this league. They're great versus the mid-range and control decks, and even the combo decks. And just really not great versus aggro. We didn't see any aggro. They were excellent. Already gave you my piece on Bonecrusher. The Kolaghan's commands look really, really good when you've got lots of high-value targets to bring back, Bonecrusher included. And the Liliana's also looked very good. We were on the play about half of the time. I guess exactly half of the time. And like when you play Liliana on turn 3 and the opponent's got one creature in play, you feel on top of the world. It's been great. And the Blood Braids, they've been excellent. I would love to somehow squeeze a fourth one into here, but I think it really does get iffy with the inclusion of Bonecrusher Giant. Because remember, Bonecrusher as a threat is 3 mana, and I don't want to like too much invert my curve, because that can lead to some pretty clunky draws. So I think if I'm gonna play the 3 Bonecrushers, which I think I'm gonna continue to do for at least a short while longer, unless it really impresses me, then maybe it becomes semi-permanent. I think as long as I'm playing as many Bonecrushers as I am, 3 Blood Braids is on the safe side. Talking a little bit about the sideboard, the Plague Engineers looked great against all of the... we played against like 2 or 3 tribal decks and a creature combo deck, so they were great. The Brutalities were great as a duress and a removal spell. The spell elements were great versus the various Luris plans that we faced. The push was great versus the creature combo that we faced, and the mid-range decks that we faced, and the tribal decks that we faced. The Ashiok looked good versus our Mardu Pyromancer opponent. And versus I don't remember which, but I think there was somewhere, so we brought it in for a few like case uses somewhere else, but I don't quite remember. We have yet to get this Ghost Quarter Ren and 6 loop going, but again, we didn't really play any of the matchups where it's particularly relevant. The Pillage looked really good. We hit 2 problematic artifacts in 2 separate matchups, and pretty happy I got the Wildfire over the third copy. Sorry, the Pillage over the third copy of Wildfire, because like I mentioned in the deck tech before the video and all the other deck techs before the videos, I think artifacts are just incidentally very powerful right now, mainly because of Eldrazi-tron. But, I mean, if you have artifacts that you care about in other matchups, it's just going to be good there, too. So we brought in the Pillage. There were artifacts that we cared about. We drew the Pillage. We cast the Pillage. We won the game. So all in all, like, this sideboard has been very functional. The only two cards that I don't know about, because I just haven't had them be relevant yet, are the Kalitas and the Ghost Quarter. So these are going to be the two cards that I'm looking to test more in the near future. But I mean, other than that, what a league, right? That was absolutely great. Yeah. If you do the thing and you don't fuck it up, it works. It just works. So that's going to be it for this recording. I'm going to stay on a little while longer after the stream. After the recording to talk some Jund with y'all in chat. There's a good number of you here, which is a good time to bring up. If you're not already following me here on Twitch, it's a great free way to support what I do. And if you like Jund videos like this is the 86th one. There are already 85 Jund Leagues already recorded on my YouTube channel, plus some extras, like some Abzan shenanigans, some shadow variants, things like that. But mostly Jund. This is going to be the 86th video already on my YouTube. So if this is what you like, definitely another free way to support my content. Free, as in you don't have to pay anything, is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch the content over there. There's a lot of I think, good stuff, and lots and lots of days worth of hours of just Jund goodness. So if you like that, definitely find me over there. You can find the link to my YouTube channel attached to my Twitch page, or you can also search my name, which you can see right below my head right now. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the perfect Tenno goodness. And until next time, Jund them out.